Welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast, where you learn how to extract your business and personal deep wealth. I'm your host, Jeffrey Feldberg. This podcast is brought to you by Deep Wealth and the 90-Day Deep Wealth Experience. When it comes to your business deep wealth, your exit or liquidity event is the most important financial decision of your life. But unfortunately, up to 90% of liquidity events fail. Think about all that time and your hard-earned money wasted. Of the quote-unquote successful liquidity events, most business owners leave 50% to over 100% of the deal value in the buyer's pocket and don't even know it. I should know. I said no to a seven-figure offer and yes to mastering the art and the science of a liquidity event. 2 years later, I said yes to a different buyer with a 9-figure deal. Are you thinking about an exit or liquidity event? Don't become a statistic and make the fatal mistake of believing the skills that built your business are the same ones to sell it. After all, how can you master something you've never done before? Let the 90-Day Deep Wealth Experience and the 9-step roadmap of preparation help you capture the best deal instead of any deal. At the end of this episode, take a moment and hear from business owners like you who went through the Deep Wealth Experience. Bill Heinrich has spent over 25 years researching personal transformation and human potential. A high-level business coach with over 45 years of business experience, Bill has been teaching business owners and CEOs how to activate their authentic self-expression. The moment you start using the resources the universe has to offer you, your life immediately changes for the better. Success isn't always what it seems from the outside. Bill speaks from experience. He found success at a very young age. Surrounded by material success, with everything in place by normal standards, Bill found himself dissatisfied and nothing seemed to fill the emptiness inside. No matter how much money Bill made or how successful he was, the feelings got worse, never better no matter what Bill did. It was almost 30 years ago that Bill was so miserable that he walked out the door to change his life and never looked back. With nearly 30 years of research, investigation, and experimentation, Bill found the answers that allow anyone to live life with passion, purpose, and prosperity. Welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. And for our listeners today, I have a question for you. Perhaps a rhetorical one, perhaps not. You tell me, do you know your purpose? Do you know your passion? Are your days filled with purpose and passion? And whether you answered yes or no, there's no judgment here. We're going to take whatever you answered to the next level and to the better. I'm going to stop it right there because Bill, welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. An absolute pleasure with us. And for our listeners, you heard it in the official introduction, but Bill, let me ask you this. There's always a story behind the story. Bill, what's your story? What got you from where you were to where you are today?
Misery.
Oh, geez. I wasn't expecting that one, Bill. Misery. Well, talk to me. What's going on? Misery. What's happening there?
I never understood life, and I was always in conflict with life. I had very low self-esteem. I was miserable. I achieved many successes as a businessman. Bought my own business when I was 24, 25. Grew it 1,000%, I should say. Sold it 7 years later. Have done so many different things, but I couldn't keep success. And I was miserable. There was always chaos and confusion and some absence of harmony around me in my life. I just didn't understand life. And a little over 30 years ago, this was 2 days after Christmas, I was living at Lake Tahoe, and I stood up, and this woman I was in a relationship, I looked at her and I said, I am so miserable, I can't stand it. I've got to go find out why. And I walked out the door. And of course, she thought I was blaming her, but I wasn't. It was just a statement of fact. And I don't know what happened, Jeffrey, that night, but man, I was walked out the door and was committed to find out why I was so miserable, what the hell was going on, and have devoted my life to that ever since. And I've cracked the code. I found it. I've been teaching it to other executives, business owners for the last 15 years. I give all of my clients a 100% money back guarantee on success. Let me repeat that. No matter what's going on in your life, a 100% money back guarantee that it can be overcome and success, right? That's how powerful the answers I found are.
And Bill, let me ask you this. Let me put a pause on things right there, because we can all use the same words, but they perhaps mean different things to different people. Maybe we're not even using words. So you're saying you were miserable. I want you and I right now, I want to speak to that listener out there, whoever he or she is. They're feeling miserable, but they may not realize that is misery because unfortunately, when we experience the same thing day over day, we just take that as normal. Oh, and everyone's like this is just how it's supposed to be. So for that listener out there, Bill, what did it feel like when you say the word misery? What did that feel like for you?
This is such a great question. All the people that come to me, and I've worked with people from all around the world, celebrities, on and on. All the people come to me because of what's happening in their life. I'm not making enough money. We have these problems at work. I have this going on. This is going on. That's happening. My relationship at home is no good. On and on. I can go on and on. Okay. But the truth of the matter is, that's not why they come to me. They come to me because of how they feel about it, because they feel lousy. They feel like an imposter. They don't feel good enough. They feel like they aren't smart enough. They feel like they aren't accepted. They feel like they aren't heard. They'll do whatever it takes to keep other people happy because they hate confrontations, or they feel like they've been taken advantage of and are resentful, or there's just so many choices they don't know what to do. I mean, it just goes on and on, but it's all about how they feel. And therein lies the secret to living your life purpose. Let me repeat that. That is the secret to living your life purpose. Jeffrey, your life purpose is not what you do. Let me repeat that. Your life purpose is not what you do. Your life purpose is the energy that you do everything with.
And so, Bill, that's transformative what you're sharing. Can you expand upon that? Because we're not hearing that. Whatever social media, and don't let me get on my social media soapbox of all the things that are going on with that. We'll put that off to the side. But we're not hearing this kind of message. So in many ways, let's educate our listeners. Can you expand upon that? What's going on when you're saying that?
Okay. What's going on is this, is we live in two distinctly separate worlds. Okay. We live in two worlds. One world is the physical life we're living. The other world is the non-physical life that we're feeling. So everyone's focused on their physical life, on acquiring more, on making more money and a bigger house, a better job, a better car, more vacation, blah, 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 blah. But there's no satisfaction ever outside of you in the physical world. Every satisfaction, if I asked you, Jeffrey, to name one time in your life that was so special that it was just like, I know what it is. You're going to go immediately to how you felt. You're not going to go to what happened. And so once a person understands that, your mind, your head, people use the term, I'm sure you've heard the term mindset.
Sure.
Okay. Mindset is rubbish. It does not work. It can't work. It's impossible. And the reason it's impossible is because your mind can only access the past. Your mind can't come to the present moment. It isn't possible. Your mind is all about your past. So in order to create fear, and the only way you can create fear is in your physical life, is in your mind in the past. You cannot create fear in the present moment. It's impossible when you're present.
And so, Bill, now that you're sharing that with us, you're beginning to really open our eyes, so to speak, to really see what's going on there. How do we start taking this and leveraging it and changing our lives for the better?
Well, ultimately, there's a variety of things that a person needs to know. And for instance, everyone has life lessons to learn. Everyone. There are 38 different life lesson paths a person could be on. There's billions of different combinations in those, okay? Billions. But each person has their own very unique life lessons to learn. This is where all of your challenges come from in your physical life, okay?
Okay.
And once you know that, you start to know where to look to see where your blind spots are. Because if you're here to learn something, it means you don't know something. What it means is you're living with a blindfold on, making a decision based on who you aren't rather than who you are.
Let me ask you if I could, we'll put a pause on that for just a moment because such an important strategy, tactic that we can leverage, that we can change our lives with. So let me ask you this. When you're talking about these blind spots, and it's interesting, in the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap, step 1, inflection points, we talk both about the business side and on the personal side, where an inflection point or a blind spot, it's something that we just don't see, but it can have, if left unchecked, really negative repercussions, or if we know what it is and we can act upon it, it can have the best of repercussions for us. And we decide, stick our head in the sand, do nothing about this, and laissez-faire will be, or understand something's there and take actions, do our best to position ourselves to be in the best possible situation. So with what you're sharing, and before you go forward, because it's so important, how do we find on the personal side these inflection points, these blind spots that you're talking about? How do we know they're there?
The easiest way to tell that they're there is based on how you feel.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing I teach all my clients is there's only one thing in life that's true, just one, and that's it. Nothing else is true. Everything else is a perception. Everything else is made up from your past. Everybody's looking at something different. Okay. Everybody's seeing something different. Everybody's living different lives. Everybody's totally different. The only thing that's true is how you feel. There's an energy in that. And if you're angry, and when you're angry, it's like, why am I angry? What is the story inside of me that this anger is coming from? Because you can't have an emotion without a story. You've got to have a story.
But let me ask you this, and you can tell me if I'm way off base or if there's something in what I'm saying. With what we think is true, with that voice that we think is ours in our head, could it not be possible that it's really coming from outside of us? Social programming, social media, the powers that be, where they want society in general to go. And I don't want to bring up all kinds of different theories here or there.
It's 100% guaranteed. You're born and you come into this life, into a family that's focused on survival. You have life lessons. You have a blind spot. You immediately learn what fear is. You start learning how to protect yourself. You learn how to cry and whine to get what you want. You learn all of these survival instincts, right? So you develop a whole perception of life that's off track right to begin with. And it's controlled by parents, teachers, preachers. I can go on, and social programming, social policing in general, right? So it's a matter of wanting to fit in. It's a matter of wanting to look good. It's all about the external, but the external will never bring any satisfaction. It's impossible.
And so whether we're running our business and thinking of ways to really change the marketplace, whether it's our personal life and we want to get the most out of personal life, whether it's fulfillment or joy or all the good things that come along with that, how can we tell with the information that we're considering, the information that we're looking at, if it's really coming from us or perhaps we're some pawn in someone else's bigger picture game that we're not aware of?
This is a great question. When you start to understand energy, when you start to understand how you work, it's with energy that you communicate with universal wisdom. Okay. We think that this is everything. Here we are on Earth, and man, this is it. This is so great. But the truth of the matter is, it's nothing. The universe runs everything, and we're part of the universe. And the universe is infinite, it's expanding, and it only works on a vibration. Everything in the universe is a vibration, and it's in a constant state of change and expansion. Constant. So if you're stuck in the physical, in your past, in your stories, you have no access to that information. You won't know when you get it. Okay. So for right now, all of the information I'm giving to you is coming from there. It's not coming from my head. I'm just letting information flow through me. Doesn't need right, wrong, or indifferent, just trying to take it to a place that people can understand that will allow them to increase their vibration. It's not about motivation, and it's not what you're doing. It's who are you being?
Interesting. And to circle back to something that you said earlier, and I know I've taken us down a number of rabbit holes, and we'll get back with the program here in just a moment.
No problem. We're in the program. No.
You know, you said something about people, and these are my words, and again, you can tell me, Jeffrey, you're so far off base, or yeah, there's something in what you're saying. My takeaway from what you're saying earlier when we first started, that we have a choice. We can be someone that is a to-do list, we're to-doing, if there's such a word, or being. Like a human being, we're being in the moment. And there's a big difference between the two. Most of us, unknowingly, we're too busy on that to-do list. We're not in the moment. We're not being, we're doing, but doing not in a positive way. How am I doing with that?
Spot on. Everybody's into productivity. They're into gaining acceptance based upon what other people see. However, I can come in a room and I'll take it over with energy. I won't say a word. People will come to me. I will just attract people to me just with the energy. I will also repel people with the energy because it scares people because of who I'm being and the fact that I understand my power. I understand who I am, and I understand that I'm here to help other people. Anything in our physical life is completely based and stuck in limitation. Everything in the physical is in limitation. The one word that kills all dreams instantly, how? It kills all dreams. I'm going to do this. How are you going to do that? You'll never do it. Blah, blah, blah. Now, when you come to the non-physical, you can create anything energetically instantly. So when you start connecting to energy and you start understanding things that way, you can attract to you everything that you desire. And again, it's about who you're being. The universe is amazing, and there's only one thing wrong with it that I've been able to find, and that's your perception of it.
And again, let's put a quick pause on this for just a moment, Bill. For our listeners, you're hearing Bill say this. What's this guy talking about, all this kumbaya stuff? And I've got to tell you, what Bill's saying is so spot on. This is ancient wisdom that only recently science has begun to confirm, is otherwise known as the quantum field. Albert Einstein, perhaps you heard that name.
Yeah.
It's the quantum field, and what Bill's talking about, manifesting from our inner thoughts, not from the outer world. It's been said in different ways over the ages. It's absolutely the case. So for our listeners, if this is the first time that you're hearing this, I'm going to ask you, have an open mind and let Bill share his thoughts and be open, be permeable to really ingest these thoughts and these ideas to see where it can take you.
You're actually manifesting from your energy, not your thoughts.
Thank you for correcting me, Bill. So manifest from your energy, not your thoughts.
Your thoughts will only protect you. That's all your mind does. Your mind and ego is protect you.
Yes.
It's logic. It's how do I get up from here and walk out to my car? Use logic to get out there, but stay detached. You see, work with all sorts of people. One of the things that's fascinating about people that work with me, I don't have any contracts, right? And my clients don't leave. I mean, the longest one just left 8 years. We met every week. I've got 3 right now over 6 years. Why? Because we're just in expansion and growth. Everything just, when you start understanding it, like, ooh, you're playing just a really powerful game. It's very exciting because you can create anything that you desire. However, there's things that you spoke about words before. The words you use, like, here's a secret for your audience. The first thing I teach all of my clients is this, Jeffrey. Never make another decision in your life, ever. No more decisions. Like, what am I going to do? You're going to make choices. Just say it out loud. I need to make a decision, or I have to make a choice.
So words matter.
Feel different.
Sure, of course it does. Sure,
massively.
Words matter.
Decisions are final. They can create stress. Choice is all about power, and choices can be changed. You can make a choice and change it, but you own it. Everybody, when they're making decisions, they're focused on the outcome, is what they're really after in this decision, and protecting themselves. I make choices. I'm feeding it energy. Let's see what manifests in front of me. Because when you look in the mirror, you don't see yourself. You're seeing a physical representation of your energy. And the day you die, your energy leaves, but your milk carton stays here.
Absolutely.
So don't get too attached to it.
So, Bill, let me ask you this.
It's all about the energy.
Sure. For our listeners there, you've begun to give us a foundation of a different way. I'm not even going to say thinking, of feeling. The words that we use, how they influence how we feel, which in turn influences our outer world. So now let's transport ourselves to a community member here at Deep Wealth, a business owner who is solving a painful problem for a specific group of people, helping those people solve their problems, helping enough people get what they want so that the business owner can achieve what he or she wants. And yes, the business has its ups, it has its downs, it has its challenges. But for that person, what can we begin to do, Bill, coming out of this conversation with what you've shared, to welcome more fulfillment, more joy, more happiness?
Let's completely reframe what you said. Okay. Number one, why does it need to be painful? Get rid of that word. That word, it doesn't support you. The only thing that's happening here is that people are in a situation where they probably don't have a strong enough commitment because there's confusion. Somebody's coming in to help them get clarity so that they can make a more powerful choice. And that's going to come from gathering the facts and then making a choice of what's going to be best for the benefit of all involved, regardless of the outcome.
Okay.
But it's about clarity. Life is always about more clarity.
Love that. And so speaking of clarity, let me ask you this. And I know, Bill, I'm going to preface my question because you could easily say, and you'd be right, well, Jeffrey, it really depends on the person, where that person is, what's going on. It's going to differ from person to person. Let's just take for granted or for an assumption for just a moment, the typical person. I know there's no typical person, but here's the question for you. When you begin to coach someone, when you're really partnering with that individual to help that person achieve his or her desires or goals, Pareto's Law, 80-20, are you seeing the same 20% of the root issues that are causing 80% of the problems for most people out there? And if you are, what would those be?
No.
Okay.
They come ultimately, yes. Okay. However, it isn't understood that way. Okay. When they come with a lot of information about a lot of different things based upon events in their life that aren't satisfactory.
Okay.
Okay. And again, the first thing I teach them is they aren't seeing me because of that. They're seeing me because of how they feel about it. Because people come to me with things, I've got the same thing going on in my life and I don't feel the same way because I'm detached from it and I know how to feed it energy and take care of it. So once they see that, after, when you get done and from all the stories and in an hour of a clarity session with a client, I'll come up with 35 different things going on in their life that's standing in their way, blocking them or holding them back easily. Right.
Okay.
But ultimately, it comes down to the great irony of life, Jeffrey. And the greatest irony of life is our greatest fear is fear of loss. Yet nobody's getting out of this alive.
So true.
Right? But yet, and it's our greatest fear because it's inevitable. And because of that, fear of loss of children, fear of loss of a job, fear of loss of income, that's always going to be in there someplace. But the truth of the matter is this: my life is out of control and yours is too. They're completely out of control. And when you can look at life that way, you can come to the present moment and make better choices. Because who knows? I may be dead tomorrow. I don't know. We don't know.
And so, Bill, when you talk about the present moment, and we hear a lot about that in the popular media, stop what you're doing, be in the present moment, really take it in. Yesterday's already happened. Tomorrow isn't here. All we have is the present moment. That's why it's a present. And the list goes on and on of the different sayings that are out there, but there's some truth to that. What's going on with that? How can we incorporate that into our daily rhythms and rituals and lives to really begin the process of leading to happier outcomes, better feelings?
Let go of everything else. Right here, right now, I'm with you, be of service to you and your audience. And there's nothing else in my life. And listening to you with empathy and compassion and trying to serve back, allowing information to flow through me that serves back, that'll be a benefit to you and your audience. And that's it. That's what we're here for in this moment. As I told you when I came on, I live in an RV. I'm in the process of driving to California. Like I'm sitting in my RV in a rest area in Roanoke, Virginia, right? But I'm not on the road. I'm here with you. I'm present with you. And that's it. This is all. So stay empathetic, stay compassionate, and stay out of judgment. Anything you judge when you're listening to another person, anything you judge, you are.
And so, Bill, let me ask you this, because on the one hand, it sounds so easy. Jeffrey, be in the present moment. Forget everything else that's going on out there and focus on what you're doing, and that's all that exists in your world. And yes, it sounds easy, but often doing what's easy isn't always so easy, because I know people are saying, well, yeah, I know, but I'm in this meeting and I'm thinking about the 10 other meetings that are coming up, or I left a meeting just before something was urgent, or on the personal side, I'm here now, but my child or significant other is having an issue, but I have to be here. I mean, how do we deal with that noise? How do we actually be in the moment to pacify ourselves with whatever else is going on, to be in the moment with what's going on?
First of all, you quickly learn to understand that if you're not, then those other things are running your life. You've lost control of your life. They've gotten your attention, and where your attention goes, you go. That's it. So it's being energetically responsible to the choices you make in life. So you and I set up and made choices to do this interview. We aren't sitting here. I'm not rifling through papers and doing other things, right? I'm here being responsible, as you are, to me and your audience, to the choices that we made. Okay. There's other things going on in our life. The reason you're in that meeting is because you chose to be there. Be responsible to your choice.
And so, Bill, so let me ask you this. As we've been talking through this conversation, again, for our listeners, please go to the show notes. In the show notes, there'll be a link, not only for Bill's site, but also for his book. And in the book, there's 7, I'll call them strategies or ways of being that will completely transform your life. And Bill, let me see if I'm getting this right. So we've spoken about how no two people are the same. Each of us are unique. And you've begun to educate us about this grand illusion, in your words, of what's really going on, or what we think is going on versus what's really going on, and how that can really affect and effect our feelings, because it's all about the feelings, not the words. And it's our feelings that, again, have a major impact on our inner game. And with the inner game, it's not about making decisions. It's about considering choices, and those choices and the wording and the language that we use around that with that inner game will take us to better places, better feelings. It gives us more awareness. And I know I'm doing a very quick recap here, and if I'm off base in any way, please stop me. But that leads to the blueprint. And when it comes to the blueprint, I want to go back to what you said earlier. It's also in the official introduction as well. You were a successful business person, absolutely miserable. You had the courage to recognize that, stop what you're doing. You did all the heavy lifting. And for yourself, you came up with a blueprint that completely transformed your life. And now you're taking what you've learned, refining it, and taking that out to other people. And so with this blueprint, and each of us has our own unique blueprint, what can you tell us about that?
First, I want to correct you. I didn't have the courage to change my life. Okay. I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I had no choice. It was like I was just so miserable. So at that point, it wasn't, oh, I'm going to do, no, it was like, oh my God, there has to be something better. So God, let's go. Show me what to do. And that's what's led me to this. What was the end of your question? I'm sorry, Jeffrey, because I wanted to make sure I made that point.
It was a bit of a rambling question because I was going on there, but ultimately I was going through each of the different levels. And when we get to level 6, the blueprint level, because everything builds up to the blueprint and then to energy. Talk to us about the blueprint of what's going on with that.
Okay. Once you come to work with me, you're going to come to understand that you have a physical being and an energetic being. Okay. We each have 7 distinct energies that flow through us, and they're divine compassion, divine creation, divine order, divine healing, divine authentic self-expression, divine truth, and divine power. We all have all 7, but we have them in different proportions. No two people are the same. This is the blueprint that makes up your purpose. This is the thing that makes you different than everyone else. The irony about these energies are, because you were born with the blind spots, because you were born into a life of surviving rather than thriving, is everybody's like, no, don't do that. You got to go work, hard work, make money, get a house, do the right thing, blah, 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 blah. When you get into thriving, you'll start understanding, see these energies that when you don't know what they are, the energy flows, but it comes out negatively. And now this energy is you. This is what you breathe. Okay. So when you are introduced to them and you see the energies that affect you the most, you will instantly feel the difference. You will instantly go, oh my God, that's crazy. But you're not using your head anymore. Literally, you're an energy and the dysfunctional behaviors associated with it. And with that, you can flip the energy and you make other choices. And this is what changes everything. I want you to finish this sentence for me. People will never remember what you said, but they'll always remember
How you made them feel.
How you made them feel.
Yes.
Let me say that again. People will never remember what you said. They'll always remember how you made them feel. That's where connection is. That's where your authentic personality is, your ability to connect energetically. Now we're connected. Now we're one with all. It's all energetic, 100%.
And Bill, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, speaking to a community of business owners and entrepreneurs, if you and I are being honest with each other, and we are, some are going to be hearing you talk about this in energy and we're all connected. And I'm being polite here. It's a foreign concept for them. And they don't have to agree. They don't have to disagree, whatever it is. But for those who are really grappling with this, okay, we're all connected. It's an energy. It really feels foreign to me. It doesn't feel quite right. That's not what I've learned. That's not what I've heard. That's not what I've been taught over the years. What would you say to that person to begin, again, the process of not jumping in wholeheartedly just because someone's being told to, but to open up their minds and their ears to listen to a different message?
And the first thing I want to say is your experience and your interpretation of it is 100% correct. And no, people don't talk about this. And the reason they don't talk about it is because it's blue, because it's this, because you can't see it. It's not in the physical. But the whole universe, scientifically, it's proven it runs on a vibration. So if your vibration sucks, you're in a place where the energy that you're going to attract, like attracts like. It's real simple. So when you start understanding what's creating this energy and how to make better choices that serve you, then you're creating energy that becomes much more attractive because now you're open-minded. Now you're out of judgment, blame, shame, and guilt and all the stuff that we get labeled with in the physical. And you really get to come from a place from your heart, a place of love where you're here to help others.
Yeah, some terrific advice. And again, for our listeners, we're talking some big concepts, some new concepts that are here. And really, if you think about it, Bill, what you and I are doing, we're taking your entire book and we're compressing it down into a relatively short conversation. And for our listeners, whether you're fully on board or you're saying this is the biggest bunch of you know what that I've ever heard, again, an open mind, go to the show notes. In the show notes, there's a link to Bill's book. Actually, you have a couple of books. But the 7 levels of truth, a direct path to your life purpose. And for all of the Deep Wealth community out there, you know, I'm out there, I'm working with business owners, I'm working with investment bankers, M&A lawyers, helping business owners literally change the social fabric of society. And I can share with you all the science, all the studies is now catching up finally to what Bill is saying. And having been on both sides of Bill, where you were when you were absolutely miserable, I've been there. Can't say that I'm quite where you are right now. I'm a work in progress, making my mistakes, learning along the way.
We all are. You're right where you're supposed to be.
There's a better way. And Bill, you're sharing with us that better way. And what I love about the 7 levels of truth, Bill has done the heavy lifting. Not that you don't have any heavy lifting to do, but you're not going to have to really start from the beginning. Bill's done that. Click on the link, get the book. It's a terrific read. And when you're going through the book, you have questions. Again, we'll revisit this in the show notes. You can go back to Bill, ask some questions, become a client, have him coach you. Bill, speaking of coaching, I know I'm all over the place here, but speaking of coaching, I know every person's unique. I get that. We've covered that. Back of the envelope, ballpark, how long does it begin to take, the quickest that you've seen, the longest that you've seen, for someone to really start to get into the groove with this different way of being?
I can change anybody's life in 60 minutes.
In 60 minutes. There you go. Okay.
And I love skeptics. Okay. I love skeptics because I'm all out. I don't have any. They're all gone. And if you're a skeptic or you're curious, you can go to speaktobill.com and get on my calendar and do a clarity session. I'll blow you away. You'll be blown away with what you learn about what's standing in your way, blocking you, holding you back. I move so fast because vibration, Jeffrey, doesn't lie.
Yes.
Does it? It's just a vibration.
Take Bill up on his challenge. All that's going to be in the show notes. But Bill, let me ask you this before we go into wrap up. And there's so many rabbit holes that we haven't even gone down and that we could continue to go. That's not an episode. That's a series that we could be doing. But let me ask you this. coming out of this one episode, if a listener could do one action, because for every episode, we always encourage an action item that a person can do before the next email, phone call, obligation, whatever that's going to be, or choice, in your words, Bill, before their next choice that they're going to be selecting what they're doing with their day. If they could do one action, what should they be? One thing. What should they be considering coming out of this episode?
Okay, pay attention. Notice whenever you're defensive. Because when you're defensive, that's your mind and your ego. Your heart only knows love. And with love, there's nothing to defend. The more you give, the more you get. So when you're defending, you're protecting a story inside you. You're protecting something.
Interesting. So it's a hint. It's a telltale hint for us. Hey, Jeffrey, you're feeling defensive here. Something's going on. Look within to see what's going on. What are you trying to protect? What's going on with your ego? What's happening
What
here?
are you afraid of losing? What it's doing is it's controlling your conversation and causing you to get into control and manipulation to get the outcome that you desire because of the fear that you have. There's nothing to defend. With love, you just give. The more you give, the more you get. People will never remember what you said. They'll always remember how you made them feel. I mean, it's so simple.
So for our listeners, when this episode is all said and done, and we're not quite there yet, we still have the wrap up, so don't go anywhere. But as you go through your day, look for anytime you're feeling defensive, become curious, go within and see exactly what's going on. Terrific advice there. So Bill, we do need to go into wrap up, and I really have the privilege. It's truly a privilege for this ritual. It's the one question I ask every single guest on the Deep Wealth podcast. It's a fun one. Let me set this up for you. And I'm really interested to hear your answer on this one. No pressure, Bill. So think of the movie Back to the Future. In the movie, you have that magical DeLorean car that can take you to any point in time. Now, the fun part, Bill, is tomorrow morning, you look outside your window. Not only is the DeLorean car there, but the door is open, it's waiting for you to hop on in, which you do. And so you can now go to any point in your life. Bill, as a young child, a teenager, whatever point in time that would be, what are you telling your younger self in terms of life lessons or wisdom or, hey, Bill, do this, but don't do that? What would that sound like?
That everyone misunderstands life, that they're living life from a place of protection. And there's so much more to it. There's so much fabric. There's so much beauty. There's so much appreciation. There's so many magnificent things. And when you start connecting to those, everything else falls in place. The abundance happens. Everything just happens when you're in that space of being. Survival sucks. It's about thriving, not surviving. And it's about acknowledging and having appreciation for our differences. I appreciate who you are, Jeffrey, and the way that you run this, right? I really appreciate that. It's a different point of view. It's refreshing, and it's you. It makes it really cool. It makes it good.
Wow. Some incredible wisdom, a number of them, not just one, but you shared many. Thank you for that. It gives us a lot to think about, Bill. And let me ask you this, Bill, before we wrap up. And again, it's all in the show notes. If someone wants to connect with you, they have some questions, they want to learn more, perhaps learn about your coaching process, your system, where is the best place online someone can find you?
Speaktobill.com.
Doesn't get any easier. Speaktobill.com. I know you have a free consultation. For our listeners, take Bill up on that. I am absolutely confident in those 20 minutes, Bill will rock your world in the best of ways. It doesn't get any better. You'll hear a message you're likely not going to hear anywhere else. And Bill, on that very high note, an immense thank you for sharing your wisdom, your insights, a true appreciation for where you've been, where you're going, but what you're doing right now and today. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, as this is an official wrap, may you continue to thrive and prosper, Bill, while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
The Deep Wealth experience was definitely a game changer for me.
This course is one of the best investments you will ever make because you will get an ROI of 100 times that. Anybody who doesn't go through it will lose millions.
If you don't have time for this program, you'll never have time for a successful liquidity.
I mean, it was the best value of any business course I've ever taken. The money was very well spent.
Compared to when we first began, today I feel better prepared, but in some respects, maybe less prepared, not because of the course, but because the course brought to light so many things that I thought we were on top of that we need to fix.
I 100% believe there's never a great time for a business owner to allocate extra hours into his or her week or day. So it's an investment that will yield results today. I thought I will reap the benefit of this program in 3 to 5 years down the road. But as soon as I stepped forward into the program, my mind changed immediately.
There was so much value in the experience that the time I invested paid back so much for the energy that was expended.
The Deep Wealth experience compared to other programs is the top. What we learned is very practical. Sometimes you learn stuff that is great to learn, but you never use it. The stuff we learned from Deep Wealth experience, I believe is going to benefit us of all.
I've done an executive MBA. I've worked for billion-dollar companies before. I've worked for smaller companies before I started my business. I've been running my business successfully now for getting close to a decade. We're on a growth trajectory. Reflecting back on the Deep Wealth, I knew less than 10% what I know now. Maybe close to 1% even.
Hands down, the best program in which I've ever participated. And we've done a lot of different things over the years. We've been in other mastermind groups, gone to many seminars, workshops, conferences, retreats, read books. This was so different. I haven't had an experience that's anything close to this in all the years that we've been at this. It's 5-star, A+.
I would highly recommend it to any super busy business owner out there. And Deep Wealth is an accurate name for it. This program leads to deeper wealth and happier wealth, not just deeper wealth. I don't think there's a dollar value that could be associated with such an experience and knowledge that could be applied today and forever.
Are you leaving millions on the table? Please visit www.deepwealth.com/success to learn more. If you're not on my email list, you'll want to be. Sign up at www.deepwealth.com/podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, if it added value, if you walked away with some new insights and strategies, please leave a review on your favorite podcast channel. Reviews help us reach new listeners, grow the show, and continue to create content that you'll enjoy. And as we wrap up this episode, as always, please stay healthy and safe.